always forget the position of my phone. Sad casualty. It's literally the hardest model to break I can think of that is a monster, and he must have bounced in exactly the wrong place. I think there's evidence of a bit of a weakness there, though, given how that break went. Good evening, everyone. Or morning. Hey, Daryl. Alexa, stop. How are we? Hello, Benny26. Benny26. All right, let's just check everything is working. Presumably it is, given that people are talking. Don't know if people are commuting or whatever, but I have a little bit of work to do to finish off my day, so I thought I would do it here. And if people have questions about mini color, they are more than welcome, or anything, but especially about mini color, which are the paints that I'll be using that we've designed. I'm just kind of rounding out the face on this guy because we need him to look pretty. So however long it is, probably won't be a particularly long one, but yeah, take the opportunity if there's any questions you have that you want to know the answers to about painting generally or our paints. And I'll just be sat here highlighting Puppy until he looks pretty, hopefully, at least. Been using turquoises on him. It's quite a fast way of painting, but I just wanted to put a little bit of extra time into the face in order to have it look pretty for the thumbnail, essentially. How are we? How's this camera position? Still using a big brush. I'm using a 4 here. It's got a nice point, so it shouldn't be slowing us down at all, really. Using one of our highlight colors currently, lemon. It's a really, really good one. So yeah, if anyone's got any questions, fire away. Everything is on the table, and no question is like stupid. Don't feel that you can't ask basic things, especially ask basic things. Essentially, I'm just going to be scooting around his face, and I want to bring a little bit of extra emphasis to a couple of parts of it. Daryl, that's a very early point to ask that question. Appreciate you staying up for us. Currently, it looks to be, yeah. we've started very early. You probably noticed that our lead time was pretty conservative, and we've tried to give ourselves plenty of time to make sure that we can achieve it. We'll be doing our utmost to make sure we can get there too. We would love to be able to deliver early or post early. Then it's in Courier's hands. We're not in control of that, but we'll pick a good one. Very smoothly indeed. So 2 thin coats are ultra matte and ultra strong. We've not gone for either of those 2 things. So we've really prioritized, while you might need a few more coats that you wouldn't do with theirs, because theirs are really, really good for coverage. Ours aren't bad for coverage, but we've prioritized quality of color and kind of joy within use. And that also includes flow, mixing well with other brands, which ours does excellently. And also a couple of other factors like behavior on a wet palette or ability to dilute a lot with glazing. They do that really well too. And we feel we've got pretty outstanding behavior. I'm not going to say it's the best, but I think it's on par with the best. And that's across all of our range either. It's not particular to certain paints, and that maybe is the thing that we have the best. Other ranges have ones that are nicer to use and less nice, and ours are all equally lovely. We've really prioritized it. Good question. Maybe I should be using a 3 rather than a 4 at this point, but I think it's okay. Encourages me to work fast. Yeah, they're outstanding in use. If you would like a unbiased opinion, I don't know if you've heard of Infernal Brush, but he's a very, very talented painter. He used to paint for the Heavy Metal team. Got a Slayer sword last year. I'd say lucky boy, but he put a lot of time into it. He well deserved it. He has said that these are the smoothest paints he's ever used. And we really appreciate him saying that. He's not D&D, but he could be. He could absolutely be an end boss. This is a Great Unclean One from Warhammer, either 40,000 or Warhammer Age of Sigmar. He's the demons transcend. They go from the past to the future. In the Warhammer world, they're timeless. Hey, I actually answered a fluff question. First time for everything. So at this point, I'm just scooting around and I'm trying to make sure that his cool details he has, like these little pitting areas here. Number one, that they are highlighted at the bottom if required. A bit neater than that though. And number two, if they need dotting to be darkened, I do that too, because these little details all around will, they'll really make the model. So I did very fast painting at first. I wet blended just to get colors down. And I'm not necessarily going to go and neaten that up, but I'm going to distract you from it by pulling your attention to his other details. That's the idea anyway. Hopefully we can succeed. Benny, that's a good question. I'm literally painting my favorite model now. As a painter's model, this is up there. If your question is just looking at it, not even thinking about painting it, I might have a different answer, but this is all round. This is amazing to build. It's amazing to paint. It's much easier to paint than people think. I think they're just intimidated about monsters generally. But this is properly wonderful as a painter's model. And people will learn stuff painting this model that it's really helpful for. It's good as a teaching tool. You'll develop as a painter painting one of these. It's a great model and it is a great unclean one. He is cool. Look at him. So I don't know if people know about the background of these guys. Let me see if I can show off his reflection a bit better underneath him. That probably, see the difference there? The light reflecting off his innards. Thank you, Poo Sprayer. What a wonderful name you have. These paints are available on Kickstarter Late Pledge, even though the Kickstarter's ended, by the way. The name is Mini Color. We've developed them with Cult of Paint. You guys might know Andy and Henry's tutorials. They're another very well-established channel and pair of teachers too. They've taught internationally like I have. And Mr. Wardle happens to be a extremely high-quality award painter as well. We can all paint armies well, but Andy's a special boy as far as painting display figures goes. Happy Boom, you can get ours. That's a good question. You guys don't like nice things, especially if their point of origin is either China or Russia. I'm not going to get political, but that's just factual. Because they come from very tall, cold environments. You can get ours domestically in the US. So I recommend ours because they're the best. Hopefully you couldn't hear me drinking tea there. If you did, I'm sorry. That was not the aim. Not loud gulping. So yeah, keep your questions coming. Anything you want to know about this model, about painting in general. If you're a complete beginner and you've never painted Warhammer before, ask any questions that you have. I'm just sitting here finishing off this guy, but it doesn't need to be about fancy painting. It could be about absolutely anything. if any of you are intimidated by large models, I would really encourage you to pick one up and just, I know it's not literally this simple, but it almost is, just change to a much larger brush. I'm doing detailing now, but I painted the rest of this guy pretty fast and loose. You'd be surprised what changes when you change the brush size that you're using. It unlocks quite a lot, and generally speaking on a bigger model, it's all positive. You can work quite fast, you can cover a load of areas, and if you're too specific with big Warhammer models, too fast, they end up basically looking terrible because you've been like dotting pupils instead of painting their stages. Thank you, Evil Chancellor, George. Much appreciated. Have they lasted well? I do think that our brushes last a very long time. I always tell people just buy a size 3 or a size 4. That's what I'm using now. And you know, they're expensive, but it's only one. And just use it for 3 months and then tell me what you think of it, because they last a really long time. And in 3 months, I think most people have realized that it's the best brush they've ever had and that it's going to have a long life ahead of it as well. I like using brushes that are properly broken in. My favorite ones are probably about a year old, for the larger brushes at least, because the larger ones last a really long time. They've got more hairs in, they're tougher, it's harder to knock them around, as long as you don't do something silly like touch them on super glue. We've all been there. Oh, I'm sure it's dry. Oh, wait. Soap comes with all of our brush sets. Our soap's very gentle. We have a paint purger, which is a much more strong chemical, but it's not strong on hairs. It's been formulated specifically. And we have a brush cleanser, which is a bit more soft, and that does moisturizing as well. Both of those are on our website and are in the US for domestic shipping as well, because some people worry about them being chemicals, but they're already in your country, so there's no issues for you to get hold of them. Biggest thing for brush care is not to dip to the metal. So even though it's a big brush, I'm trying to stay no more than like halfway into it. And the other thing you can do is just rinse regularly, because when you rinse, you pull the nasty stuff out the tip. You see I've just got a little, see there's a little dot of paint in there. Just rinsing regularly will help stuff kind of flow out the tip of the brush, and that's always what you should be after. Keep it pulling out that way, because if you're not using it or cleaning it, paint is going this way into the metal, and that's where damage occurs generally. Yeah, no worries. Well, maybe you should be worried if that's what your doctor's saying. So I'm going pretty slow here, but the rest of it's been painted quite fast, and it's been painted for a tutorial as well. Editor Ian is doing his business on it, hopefully tonight, or maybe even as we speak, if he's back from his day job. But what we're doing now is we've slowed down quite a bit, and I'm literally like dotting I's and crossing T's at this stage, in a mini painting sense at least. The camera angle is actually a little bit unhelpful for a few of these, but I will do my best. I might jump to a smaller brush too. I'm very happy that you've asked good questions about brushes. Any more of those, keep them coming. Thank you. Mundane Wizard. We're just trying to do our very own type of magic here, but it's definitely a little bit mundane, isn't it? Just models. I feel like I've had my camera angle better previously when I've done this, but it's not too bad. It's not too in the way. Right, so we are trying to, basically I'm imagining my light is coming from above the model, where my light actually is for this stream. So I want to suggest that there's certain facings of it that are really catching the light. And these are the ones that I'm going to make lighter. So it's coming from this side at this angle. That cheekbone would be getting it a lot. And then quite a lot of these areas here would be a little bit lighter as well. Need to be careful that I don't end up with too much paint on there. Paint's very smooth, but even the smoothest paint, as you get closer towards white, generally that's when you'll have more troubles with it seeming chalky or thick, and that's just because it gets a bit stronger and perhaps literally thicker as it contains more white. So I'm going to try and put down some brave highlights. This mini start to finish, or this step of this mini? If you can clarify, I'm very happy to answer. Cool. See what these are doing here. So suggesting he's lit a bit more. Maybe if I pull back. Lighting is a little bit of a problem here. So I'm just trying to suggest that there's both light is reflecting from it, but I want to make sure that the focal point for this figure, and I can help that out with the teeth by doing them really bright and really dark behind them. I want the focal point to be the face. It's a bit weird for a mini, especially a big monster, when the focal point isn't the face and the eyes. That's always my aim when I'm painting a big monster. I want people to be looking at it, and I want them to see its personality. And sometimes you end up focusing on the weapon or something else like that. So try and make sure that this is pretty much the most high impact area of the model, and that it goes up as bright as anywhere else on the model goes up to. We can go brighter than I am currently. I'm not taking this much care elsewhere on the mini at all. Start to finish, this one I was learning a bit. So I'd say maybe if I was painting all of him 12 hours. I have got one on the channel that I painted with speed techniques, and the entire model was done in 3 hours. I did his skin in 90 minutes, and he had a big sword and this dagger, but not snapped in half. And I did his horns and his details and his weapons, the rest of the model, in another 90 minutes. So there's different ways to approach things at different speeds. This one I'm not rushing on. I got through the start fairly quickly, but now I'm not racing. I don't know what people regard as a normal amount of time for painting a big monster. Because I come from a gaming background, I always think in terms of, like how many points is this model on the table? And this one in my armies has been about a fifth of the points of the army. So getting a fifth of your points done, or maybe even a quarter, depending on equipment and stuff, in 10 hours always felt quite good to me. I could do a pretty good job in 3 hours though. Just depends if there's a need. Painting in 3 hours is a different type of joy. You know, you're like, go, 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 go. And you're racing. He still looked really good. He's on the channel. It's one of our more popular videos, actually. It's quite well known. But normally, if I wasn't talking to you guys, I would maybe have some music on, or an audiobook normally, actually. Sometimes I just sit in silence if I'm concentrating, and just enjoy the process. I've been trying to learn a new technique, and repeating things that I know I'm already good at and experienced at and confident at is always a lot faster than trying to learn something new. It's way quicker. So that is probably the largest factor, actually. I've got certain ways that I know can be very good very fast, and I'm very experienced at them. This can be very good very fast, but I'm not as experienced at. This is started at least in a newer way of painting to me. To fill gaps, I hate filling gaps so much. I use green stuff. My favorite way, actually, if I can get away with it, is over gluing and then sanding back. This is magic too. I use 2 types of glue. This is one of them. The other one's Revel contactor. And I prefer putting a little bit too much glue on, pressing the pieces together, then bulging out and maybe filling the excess gap if there is excess gap. And then I just wait for that to dry fully, which is the most annoying bit. You know, that's takes a few hours, but then if I can just sand that properly, that's absolutely my preferred way. So it all stays plastic. I've used Milliput and other products as well, though. There's plenty of good ones out there, and they all have very different properties and uses. I do wonder, if his lips should have been a different colour. It's a bit late now, isn't it? Not sure if any of you have noticed, but one of the nice bonuses of using a big brush is you really don't have to go back to your palette. Often I'm not experiencing unhelpful tip drying. And unless I'm putting down a load of paint at once, which of course it's very capable of doing, given the size of the brush, I can work for quite a long time. These bits are horrible for access here. He wasn't looking very good in it because I'd basically left them pretty much black. So I'm go in there and get them. I would be very tempted to cut off this tentacle because it's so in the way. Yeah, it is. So we actually just had that's a nice question. Thank you. Appreciate it. We actually had a really positive meeting. I've been very busy. It's Tuesday, isn't it? Yesterday, I think. Jesus. Feels like a long week already. Busy times. Anyway, we had an extremely positive meeting resolving some issues with 7 of the paints that needed fixing before we go to Kickstarter. To production in order to fulfill the Kickstarter. Yesterday with the manufacturers, that was me and Andy and Henry, the 2 guys from Cult of Paint. And it was an excellent, really useful session. So we had some problems with purples. That was the main issue, was the purples actually. We're resolving an issue with a matte black that we wanted to just make slightly more matte. It's the only matte paint in the range, and we felt we wanted to push it more because it's there to be matte, so we wanted it to be definitely matte. And we also fixed green, which it had some issues with coverage. It wasn't behaving as well as we like, and I think that was it. Oh, there was one blue that we balanced out as well, and that's only been positive. So it was a really good day. So that should be our final wave. We just need to sign it off, and then production can begin once we've committed to our numbers. Good question. Thank you, Narrative. Get all those little pustules. They got to be bright. Pulsegate, probably not. But we'll sell it to you. Not to sound dismissive, but I think you can probably guess how many similar crests we've had. And that's it with love. Been there myself. I remember posting our very first YouTube video in lockdown when we had less than 1,000 subscribers. So yeah, I've been there. I've walked the walk, but it's got to be earned. Also, we literally have limited amounts of the paint available. So most of the people who've had it are, I mean, there's not many, to be frank. They're either our signature artists, and we love those, and it's one of their perks, or they are people who are like widely known educators, or they are award-winning painters whose opinions we were interested in to see if we need to adjust anything before going to final production, like Infernal Brush, Dave Perryman, and some people just had a couple, Will Brightly used our reds quite a long time ago. I've given a couple to some people that I met at Golden Demon. One of the French guys, Fabian, we gave him some oranges because he'd painted a Fuegan, and we wanted him to see the difference in using our oranges versus the ones that he'd used in order to make it more vibrant. He sent me a picture today, and he's really liking them, and he's done some very, very good work with it. So yeah, we're picking carefully. Thank you for joining, Daryl. Benny, that's not a weird question. It's a good question. Not now, because my position in order to get the camera to work at this desk is really strange. So I wouldn't recommend it. But what I would recommend if I wasn't doing that is getting a Cellar refurbished, high quality, like slightly orthopedic chair. A lot of people use gaming chairs and they're quite good. But I've got a Cellar refurbished secondhand Herman Miller that I got for a really good price. They're normally very expensive, but I got it way cheaper than they should be normally. And I'm a fidget. I think a lot of people with, let's just presume that some people in chat have got slightly ADD-ish symptoms, whether they're diagnosed or not, just the type of people we are. I'm a proper fidget, and I picked a chair that I can fidget in and rearrange myself in and cross my legs in, which I do a lot. And it's like the cheapest Herman Miller chair, and I got it secondhand, Cellar refurbished. So I'd really recommend that. Because I don't have as much personal experience from other ones, but the gaming chairs are not the same from the ones that I've set up. Also, it might get a little bit personal. If you don't want Swan Pass, I chose one that's a mesh chair rather than like a quilted one, because in the summer, I just don't think that's a good idea. You shouldn't be sitting in your own sweat. I'm not a particularly sweaty boy, but my apartment can get quite hot. If you're sitting in a chair for hours, I'd rather feel dry. You're not being a bother at all. Let me see if I'm reading some bothering now. Love my paintwork. Ironically, I paint myself. Your work. Oh, thank you. That's very, very kind of you to say. You're probably a more qualified arty painter than me. You mean a real life of two-dimensional paintings painter? Or I think my competency at teaching is, I think I'm a better teacher than I am a painter. Honestly, I'm not trying to be falsely modest there about my painting. There's a lot of extremely good painters out there. Spain exists. So does Eastern Europe. And some countries just make amazing painters on repeat. The UK is pretty dense, of course, being close to Games Workshop, but I try my best with the teaching. I can make a very good army looking very solid, quite fast. I think that's probably my specialist subject. Not that I'm going super fast now, but I could get an army done very similar to this quality quite quick. Have you had any critical feedback from the same kind of heavy hitters you have given the pots to? So most of the feedback we've had, we already knew, but when we hear certain things on repeat, it is very useful for us. So Eric Swinson, for example, he pointed out that the finishes of our paint aren't identical throughout the range. And I think that's something that a few people have commented on since I first had him commenting on it. And him bringing it up, it's really useful because it means that we can educate people about it before the range comes out and it's in their hands. So it's not necessarily immediately changed the range or we've been hit by crazy information that we weren't aware, because we've been testing them for 4 years. So we knew that we needed to fix fuchsia's coverage, for example. And other people have iterated that, so it's good to hear it. But we've been testing very thoroughly, so mostly what people have said has been nice, and that's been really useful, or it's stuff that we were already kind of cognizant of. The Kickstarter, you can late pledge for it now. If you think that you'd like them and you're concerned that you missed out, you can absolutely still be part of it. His face is definitely looking cooler now. It's bringing more attention towards the eyes. Thank you, Don. Welcome. Razdog, I do not. I'm using water and a big brush. A big brush is important, but we do have quite long. It's not like super long. There's no retarder in there, but we have a decent working time on our paints because it's not ultra matte, and that extends how long you can work with it for. This guy was all wet blended, so it's really good for that. Oh, a couple of questions at once. Also paint fancy minis, mainly D&D. Ah, okay. Hey, this type of style for D&D would be perfect. It's all about what looks effective, right? So I'm trying to draw attention to his face, and generally I want him to look like he's got a slightly dramatic sense of lighting about him. That's convenient because it means that I don't have to paint the underside very much or at all. Look at that, it's blue. So it adds up nicely. This is my preferred way of painting for all circumstances, actually, really. Involving lighting a bit, but not too much, and then just experimenting a little bit and having fun, but ending up with something that looks punchy. Some more questions. I'll take the opportunity to drink some tea. Is there anything that you wish the paint did better? You need less water than you'd think, especially with the paints that have less white in them. So you need a bit more with something like this. This is lemon. But if you're using something like Midnight, you need very little because it's so smooth naturally. I'm using our paints that we designed. They're called Mini Color. You can late pledge for them now. They had a very successful Kickstarter recently. Have I missed any questions? If I do miss something, just repeat it. Don't need flow improver, blah, blah, blah. No, I think I'm good. They are wonderful. They're super nice to use. I'm going to go around his belly now. There's some details I've not made the most of here, and you should be able to see pretty much before your eyes what happens when I drop some dark colors in the recesses. There's sirens in Manchester if you can hear it. I never notice it until I'm on stream. I'll try and record an intro this morning. So I'm going around these details, and anything that points upwards, I'm hitting a little bit. My highlight color. And what these dots are going to do is they're going to draw your attention to them, and that is going to pull your attention away from my blending. So it will make you think, by the time I've done all of this, that my blending is improved. It's just the way that eyes work. They concentrate on details and they fill in blanks behind it. They'll probably tell you that my painting's smoother than it is once I've done these. Still using a Mahusive brush. I'm using a 4. That's part of the reason why my paint's staying workable for so long, because I've got the paint's got a big belly of volume inside the brush, so I've got quite a lot of paint that I can use quite a long time. There we go. That's doing a little bit more work. It needs to be way brighter. I'll just go with the edges too, particularly the ones that are facing upwards a bit more. Manchester is either all crimes or all the ambulances. Maybe it's Christmas parties. Okay, getting to the cool. I've been painting for ages. Pulse gate, I understand why people use them. I don't personally feel the need for using them for army painting, but I'm an exception there. So I like using this. I like discovering stuff on this palette, and also I'll be frank, like it's cold and it's humid in the UK, so I get, particularly with paints with a decent working time, I get a huge amount of time to work with them. I'm not using too many different paints either here. You know, literally I'm using 4, 3 of which are out on the palette. So it maybe if I had more out at once, that would be a reason that I would wish to use a wet palette too. But keeping stuff simple. This entire model's not got many different paints on him. Thank you, Narrative Nook. We were discussing the NMM paint set when we were in doing our fixes and our development yesterday, so we know that there's a requirement for it and we're going to make it very good. We might combine it with a grayscale set because that's also needed, or the grays set, however you want to do it. We're going to see if they can be combined because that would be cool if possible. Thank you for your input though, and have a nice day or evening. I love the transparency too. Not with all of them, as they've got more white in, they get more opaque, but it's so good to have it in the paints that you need it. Like the deep blue that I started this from is wonderful because it's transparent. That means it can't do some things, but it means it can do others. And we've kind of, with Mini Color, we've embraced the differences within the range between paints rather than try to arbitrarily standardize. You know, there are pluses to doing that. Every paint has the same finish, you know, every paint has the same opacity or close to it, but there's, you know, you pay in other ways too. And other people have done the other way very well. And we thought there was room for someone to do our way well too. Anyone who liked the old model color or a couple of Citadels back, Citadels, they'll really like these paints. It's like those two mixed. And they combine well as well. Because of the traits we've gone for, we're not saying replace your other paints, far from it. We're saying combine these with your AKs or with your Pro Acryls. And what you might find is you can add these two AKs and Pro Acryls and improve how they behave as well. Well, you say I've got patience. I just know that Pappy's got to have a pretty face for the camera. I always think when I'm doing stuff like this and people are like, you're so patient. I'm not. I just know that it'll help show him off to the best of our ability on the channel, and people click thumbnails more if things look prettier, even if the subject of the tutorial is nothing to do with this guy's face. Him having a good looking face will make more people click it, which is understandable. I recall an interview with Matthew McConaughey, and people were like, how do you stay in shape so often? Because he'd won like Rear of the Year award, male actor edition or something like that. And he said, well, if you've ever been into a cinema and seen your behind like 30 feet wide on a screen, you'd want it to look good. So maybe it's like this. Puppy's got to look pretty for the masses on YouTube. I'm not enjoying it, to clarify, but this isn't necessarily the amount of time that I'd put in, and it's definitely not what I'd put into every part of this model. You can see all my times going into the face and the chest, and that's because I've got this angle that I'm trying to enhance here. This is my money shot, and I really want him to look pretty from this angle, so we're doing our best. Shit. So as paint gets stronger, and I am using stronger paint here, it's got more of our lemon in it, which is not a weak paint. Things get a little bit more risky and you've got to be a bit more precise. I'm trying to have these highlights land inside existing highlights. And maybe, I'll begrudgingly admit, maybe we are now at the point where I should be dropping down a brush size, because I am still using a size 4, which is quite a large brush. I don't like changing brushes though, and I like big brushes, so personal preference comes into it. He's looking cooler though. What are people saying? Hear you eating myself, not for painting. Sounds like clickbait, my friend. I don't think we do clickbait, but we certainly aren't beyond a seductive thumbnail. We could definitely do better with our thumbnails. I think everyone can. Saw one of these in real life last time I pulled up to KFC. It was black, not blue. I still got a Great Unclean One new in the box. Oh, you should dry brush one. Yeah, absolutely should. He's a pissed off Oogie Boogie. Yeah, I'm trying to get him looking a bit angry. Well, the way that I always think about painting armies and the quality of each model is that the more important it is, the more of a centerpiece it is, and this guy would definitely be a centerpiece in an army, the more he's worth the time. And especially the more his face is worth the time. You know, if the face is the most important bit of this model, which it is, then if anywhere is worth a little bit of extra effort, it's his face. I will begrudgingly admit that we're now at the point where rather than helping me, my big brush may be hindering me. But the mix is just right. Don't want to put it down. His face is looking cool now. Just it do need that little bit extra. Essentially what I'm trying to do is, as everything gets closer to where his eyes are at, I'm trying to pull my lines in the direction of the eyes. So everything is like building and building and building, and then you end up looking at his eyes, which are probably going to be orange. I think orange would maybe be the right call for them. So that's the aim anyway. So it's just the other bits that are sticking out the most that I want it now. I think his lips are going to get lines on them. So while I've got the big brush, which holds a load of paint and has a very fine tip, I'm just going to give him a little bit of life and realism by painting lines. Easier than you'd think. I will read some questions. I appreciate you've asked a few. I'm concentrating, so give me a sec. Difficult, so I'm trying to put a highlight in the recess and on the raised areas of every one of his bulges. We did a how to highlight cloaks video recently, and there was actual disagreement from people about leather reflecting in the recesses. And I don't think you can disagree with something like that because it's science. Cool. So I think that's really worked. Probably I should do it on the top lip too. Or I should suggest it. You don't actually have to do everything 100%. Just do it in the money shot areas. And I'll maybe do it slightly less subtly than is realistic. Get it from underneath too. Big brushes can do anything. Hoping that that doesn't look bad from underneath. Yeah, we go. Okay, cool. Right, I'm gonna, I'll read some questions now. Just cleaning my brush a little. Okay, so Great Clean One went, never. Oh man, I've just started it so flat. What is flat? The Great Unclean One? Okay, just sent this to my friend as he has painted him. He has been painting for years, but hopefully he'll look into your paints. Thank you very much. They're never angry, they're always the happiest Millie boys. He's spreading joy. Will the late pledge come in the same box as the normal pledge paints in a fancy box? Yeah, you can. All the Kickstarter exclusive stuff will be applicable to late pledges. So the only people that will ever get that exclusive stuff are people who basically get it now before it goes to retail via us. Do you prefer a consistent army or different styles across it? Consistent. They wouldn't have to be. I mean, I would paint them in the same style consistently, but maybe I would vary their colors or their weapon choices or something like that. I like consistent basing too, for sure. Any update on when the extras will pop up on the Pledge Manager at the same time as the Pledge Manager goes live, which will be a little bit for us. The brushes are ours as well, yes. I love dragons. When you do a black wash, do you use acrylic paint or water or oil paint with mineral spirits? I use acrylic washes, like shades from this industry generally, but I do use oil sometimes. A primer from a can and buy Chaos Black because it's just very reliable and it behaves really well in a wide variety of situations. So Chaos Black is the one, in my opinion. All right, going in with a pretty much pure version of our highlight now. I'll keep it diluted. I do think this is one of the best models. It's an absolute classic. I don't know who sculpted this. If there's any like GW experts who know that in the chat, I'd love to know, but it's just so enjoyable. It's got so few pieces for its size. They go together so well. The level of detail is perfect. You can do it fast, you can do it slow. It's just a painter's model and a gamer's model. And it's beginner friendly somehow, which is unbelievable given the type of mini it is. So yeah, whoever was responsible at Games Workshop just did such a good job. Hey, those lines are showing up a bit more now. We've done them in a lighter color. That's good. Still using my big brush. Big brushes can actually be really good for lines. I want his face to look older, so maybe I put lines all over it. Yeah, he's looking good now. Can you? You can just use a black. I did this guy from black. If you use a black, you're going to have to put down your base coat yourself. That's the exchange. Essentially, you'll have to paint with more coverage and spend more time getting it down there. If you went from a grey, then almost any color will go over it quite easily, but you need to be using stronger ones for them to work over black. So that's how I'd make the decision, separate to, you know, preferred individual painting styles. All right, we're now cheating. Putting down some very bold highlights on his lats. Because this is the angle that he's going to be pictured from. So he can only just about see the top ones. So this is, if you were painting faster, this is the type of thing that you could do. He's going to look like a weird little pumpkin by the time he's finished. we can get these streaks down as long as they're going the same direction as the muscles. They should look pretty good. Just build it up. Hey, looking pretty good, really. I'm going to fix some issues that I realized were on his front. Things got too dark too fast. Okay, and then also his lips are his lips were too blue on the underside and it was standing out. It was a bit extreme. So fixed, and we've see that? We've kept the lines we put underneath his bottom lip because they were quite a white, strong paint, and then we've just literally painted over it with a diluted other paint, and it's worked out surprisingly well, actually. Wow, that's so cheaty. Cool. I reckon he's looking pretty good. Jack-o'-lantern, Great Unclean One would be perfect. I've done an orange one. I literally did do an orange one for my my friend Derek in America. I gave it to him. It's a good looking one too, actually. He's a lovely man though, so it was worth it. All right. Yeah, a wash is a really good idea. You did catch a stream. Right. I'm just gonna snag a little brush and I'm gonna dot some teeth. Now this won't be their intended forever color. I think actually I need to get a brown out or something. I don't know what base to use them because he's a very cold model. So maybe like a purple brown. I'm going to take blue brown. I do use airbrushes. I've got this one, which is amazing. I really like airbrushes. I'm not anti-airbrush, but I think I've got more to add to people's painting knowledge proportionally by me showing them dry brushing, because I'm an expert at that, so it doesn't come up as much. We are going to do a few how to combine airbrush with other brush videos, though. Quite excited for that. So airbrush and dry brush, airbrush and wash, that type of thing. And I'm also planning a beginner airbrushing video too. I love my airbrush. It's outstanding. The new H&S are just, well, they're the best for mini gaming airbrushes that have ever been. I think it's pretty safe to say. The Evolution, this is an Infinity. You don't need one this fancy. The Evolution, the Colour Paint Evolution is probably the best middle airbrush out there. I wouldn't spend much less, but the last time I bought one of those, I used it for 7 years, I think. So my compressor's 15 years old. It's more than that, actually. It's secondhand when I got it. So, all right, I'm going to carefully just kind of background his teeth with this brown. I don't use Payne's Grey. I've heard of it though, but I can't remember why. Lol, are you asking with regard to the States? We have domestic shipping within the States. We have a hub and our stuff is already there. So if you're in the US, you're covered. Our EU hub is literally days from being operational after some tax VAT stuff that's very boring, but it's taken a very long time to get resolved. Far longer than we were expecting. I thought it was going to be resolved months ago, but we will have an operational EU hub too. Oh dear, that is a very bad color to have a slip with. Fixed, caught, scary. The moment I step down to a tiny brush and make a mistake. Yeah, check it out. Ours will last a really long time. If you're just ours are expensive. What I would always say to people is just pick up one size 3. If you want to try one brush to see if our type of brushes and the quality of brushes we use are for you, pick up a single size 3. I predict you will love it. Leave it 3 months, make sure that you love it, and then if you like it, then you could buy a set. You could buy like the 000 through to 2 sets that we do, a 5-brush set, and then you'd have a 000 through to a 3, and that's a really good selection of Kolinsky brushes. That'll cover most things. I personally am a 4-man, but people don't believe me when I say you can do a lot of work with a 4, but you absolutely can. You really can. It's such a good brush. All right, gonna have to block these teeth in. I want to give him blue-purple bags under his eyes as well, so I may as well do that now. Happy Boom, pretty much, yeah. Either we will handle import for you and ship it out ourselves. I can't tell you exactly what countries in Europe that would be the case for, or they'll go to these hubs that we already have pre-existing and very good and reliable relationships with, and they'll go out from there and everything will be fine. Right, tiny bit of purple. I'm definitely on small brush now. Tiny bit of blue. And let's see if we can glaze the bags under his eyes down to a different color. This one, absolutely not, but I was very observant. I was doing demonstrations on the stream of different techniques, and this was just a model I had lying around, so he was patchwork, and then people liked the turquoise, and I liked the turquoise so much that I just continued. Oh my God, glazing is amazing, isn't it? Look at the difference that's made already to his eyes. Did that show? Just amazing what a difference a wash can make. That's a glaze, I guess, technically. Closer to a glaze than a wash. But either way, it's a small amount of transparent paint, and we popped it down in an area for maximum impact and evil eyes. Thank you, Blaze. Do you have any questions that I can help with on how to help you achieve this type of stuff? I would be very happy to help. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some more purple around his eyes. And that is just to, his eyes are going to be light. You know, light is going to be glowing from his eyes. Not crazy and full on, but at least a little. So I will have an easier job making that look good if he's dark around them. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. Basically, we've made the bags under his eyes way more noticeable. And now I'm going to start bringing in purple around the eyes. And because the purple hasn't been used much elsewhere, this should stand out a fair bit. I could do it around his lips, and I'm going to do a little test on the underside of his lip now, like at the back or something, just to see if that is a good idea or if it is a bad idea. Pass. Still undecided. I think maybe I didn't need the blue. Maybe I could have gone pure purple. So carry on repeating. Man, he looks a little bit intimidating now. Now we've given him those serious boy dark eyes. Ah, there's a really annoying bit I've missed. Now we've got the tiny brush. Much safer to fix things like this. He's too three-dimensional there. It's just not a good idea for a model. Rather, it was just like smooth. Looks better though. Yes, I absolutely dropped it on my my palette. Large Blaze Angel, good question. Large or extra large, you can do a lot more than you would think with those. Let me show you. This guy was done mostly with a large. Everyone's sharing their terror stories. Right, well, I got the little brush and things are less liable to flood. I'm going to go around and I'll do some dotting. So, top tip, things would be darker where they're in shadow. So rather than painting them the right way up, if I do my washes while the mini's upside down, gravity will be helping us put paint in the right places rather than the wrong places. Also, if you go too heavy, you'll go too heavy upwards, which as long as you don't spill out is not really an issue. Going too heavy downwards would look the opposite of realistic. These dots add up so much. So even when I'm holding it the right way up, I'll push upwards with my brush rather than pulling down. Just means that I'll deposit things in the right areas for being shadowed. Cool. He's looking pretty good. Oh, Billy, that's very kind of you. I wasn't expecting that. Just scrolling. You guys are being very active. Thank you, Billy. A large plus is slightly bigger. Appreciate that, Billy. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Because I'm going to start tying things up here. We've made a really big difference to how this looks. I'm probably going to paint his actual eyes off stream so I don't make a mistake and then regret it. You know how it is. So yeah, if there's anything you'd like to ask while I'm still here, please do take the opportunity to ask now. Every question is allowed. So what I'm doing now is kind of like putting makeup on him. Anywhere that I want to distinguish, so I want his lips to get bluer as they get further in. I've bought this from a company called Games Workshop and I'm just painting it. Nida Altak. They haven't been painted yet, Gardens and Games, the bumps that have got white on them. I'm just preparing for something. I use a dry palette. One pad is fine, Blaze Angel. Just when you're using it, just make sure that you don't leave it with the lid sealed because it'll get a bit muggy, so leave the lid off for it to dry. But you don't need to worry about contamination in there. It'll just it'll dry onto the foam and you'll be fine. It won't ever come off again once it's dried on. Put all of your thought into caring for your brushes and using the dampening pad. Don't worry about replacement parts and stuff like that. Use the texture palette, test on there, use the dampening pad. They're the important things. And load your dry brushes carefully. Always load them carefully. Okay, that blue lip step has looked amazing. It's done a lot of work apart from there where I went too heavy. Whoops. But that is, I'm surprised by how effective that's been. That looks really cool. Very pleased with that. This, the wooden paint rack, it has got some eyelets at the back now, so you can mount it on a wall. I don't know what other updates you would like. It's still very sexy. It's lovely. Yeah, absolutely. Don't put your paint further than a third. That's the way to go. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm just distinguishing a few of the details that I've filled in. And this isn't necessarily realistic, but it's going to help the mini look a little bit more readable. Let you know where various things are. I think I need to go a bit lighter on his eye bags too. I think they're too dark currently. You can purchase it when the pledge manager opens. So that the moment the pledge manager is operational, it'll be operational with the options in it, and that'll allow you to add it. It is wonderful. I'm so pleased with mine. That color is too strong. Those bags look serious now. It's gone to like Insomniac level. Look at them. I'm quite pleased with that. I think maybe they need to be a bit more like a blacky purple color-wise, but cool. He's looking demonic now. He wasn't so much, but blacking out the teeth or bluing out the teeth has really done some work. They are upside down, but that's just how they're in the rack. If the rack was stored with this as the bottom here, then they would be horizontal. So you know you can do whatever with them. Whatever you prefer. It's just about, you know, how you like to see your bottles. I like them being in this order for color. Now for me, it helps me make decisions about which ones to pick. I really like that, but everyone uses them differently. Guns. When loading your dry brushes and your normal brushes, you try to keep paint to the front third of the bristles, the top. Benjamin, hello. Thank you very much. Appreciated. All right. Puppy is coming to an end. Really, really pleased. He should look much nicer in thumbnails now. Like I said, I'm going to do his eyes off stream probably. I put a dot of orange on so you can see a representation, and so we can make a decision about whether that is indeed the right color. "18 of us from Birmingham have pledged. Lovely. Appreciated. I went to uni in Birmingham. Right. I just used Marigold, which is like a very, very deep orange. This might be a bit much, but it'll give us an idea of whether we are going in the right direction. It might be that I should do like a a bit more of a milky. Jesus, use a tiny brush. Maybe I should have stuck with the big brushes. I think that color's okay. I think it needs to come to a white dot. I mean, you're looking at the eyes. It's whether the orange is the right choice or whether it's a bit jarring. So that's a rough indication of what the intent would be. Painting eyes on camera is not my favorite thing at all. Okay. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed that. Oh, he looks really good out the light. One sec. The texture palette is amazing. I love it. I use a big one, and you can see that mine gets a lot of use. This is several years old. It probably weighs twice as much as it did when I got it. Make sure whatever you're using, whether it's homemade or one of ours, that you prime it first. Really appreciate the donation. Thank you very much. And if anyone's got any final questions before I go and have something to eat, please let me know. I'll do one of my things I normally do before finishing, actually. I'll quickly show you my cabinet because people are always interested. All right, puppy's done, so here is my ogre army, which got a nice little look last time. So finish on a bit of a tour. These are our cabinets that we make. There is my Throne of Skulls trophy. Was a gamer before I was a painter. And yeah, check out the quality. Magnet for bases, N35 or N52 neodymium discs is what I'd use. And you can use a hot glue gun if you're trying to do it fast. If you don't have a hot glue gun, just press them into green stuff and put a bit of PVA on them or something. Cool, right? This guy's got quite a nice face. A lot of time went into the lines on him. You see we've drawn attention to his eyes in the same way by using a different color. Always a good idea. Some of my fancy painting from a painting class, and then something else from the channel there. 5mm round should be fine. That's a good question. Biggest and the truth. It's normally so you can access the areas that are in question more easily. So you might want to paint a cloak separately, for example. That would be a very good example of why you would do a piece separately. Don't say that, Benjamin. I've got some pretty basic stuff as well. Look how messy my desk is. But we can whatever you're doing, whether it's fancy or just making something red, it's all valid. And armies look good when you repeat them. People always forget this in the day of social media and close-ups. He's really cool, but what matters is how these guys look in a block. So, you know, just repeating and having some consistency goes a really long way as well. I prefer it, my dry palette, but that's just me. That's just how I work. You should get both and then make your own decision. You can't do dry brushing with a wet palette. That just won't work, period. So I wouldn't recommend using it for that. And I dry brush a lot, so. Oh, he looks so unhappy. Looks a bit like Ozzy Osbourne. Rip. Ozzy, beloved. His colours are going a bit nuts on the camera. The pledge manager isn't open already. You can just late pledge now, but we'll announce when the pledge manager is open. I thin my paint slightly, yes. I'll do that here. Any more questions? my dry brushes. We have a video which has got a picture of a very screwed up dry brush and a very good dry brush. I recommend you watch that. It's about loading paint only at the tip and about using our dampening pad that comes with the sets as well and the texture palette here. Thank you, Blaze. You're welcome. No worries. Pendim, all good. All right. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. I'm going to finish off my tea, which is now cold, and then I'm going to go and grab some food. So thank you very much for joining. Please check out the Kickstarter if you are interested in mini color, and the tutorial for how to do the wet blending that I used to start this off will be live on the channel soon, hopefully. My pleasure. Look after yourselves. Stay safe. Goodbye.